name is Brett Cassidy. I'm a Calgary-based songwriter, music producer, musician. I'm a member of the band The Ashley 100, and I also perform a lot under my own name. Covered a lot of ground in music, spent a lot of my life playing more indie rock and alternative rock. Been a part of a couple country bands, and really focusing on my passion for folk and country music. I started playing music pretty much from the very beginning. I got forced against my will into taking piano lessons like a lot of middle-class suburbia does, and I did that for a few years before I started getting really into music on my own. Bands like AC/DC and Led Zeppelin, I heard their guitar solos for the first time and I was like, I need to figure out how to do this, and begged for my parents to get me my first guitar, and they did when I was 10 years old, and started taking some lessons. And through my first band together in junior high, we would perform at the school talent show playing covers of Guns N' Roses and Green Day and all that kind of stuff that 12-year-old boys are into. I really fell away from music during my teen years, and I thought I was going to be an athlete or something, and I spent all my time working out. Probably spent a little bit too much time partying in those years too, and didn't even pick up a guitar for 3 or 4 years until when I was about 19 or 20, I got really sick, and the only thing I had to keep me company was a nice pair of headphones, and was listening to a ton of music, artists like Bon Iver and Nick Drake, and just got really into the way that they were evoking emotion through their lyrics and through their music. And once I recovered from that is when I started really diving into songwriting, and that was when I found the love of music again. I've always been able to hold down a day job and all that, but music is the only thing for me, and I've always known that. When I first started writing songs, I was looking for a group of people to start playing them with, and that was when I rounded up the guys that then became the Ashley 100. And I had written a few songs, and a few of them had also written a few songs, and we started playing them together, and it just immediately clicked. And we knew we wanted to start sharing it with the world. We'd probably been jamming together for a year or two before any of us were comfortable trying to book our first show. And all we ever wanted to do was make music that was good enough that people wanted to hear it. The first place that the Ashley 100 ever played was actually at the Pine Ridge Community Center. It was an event that my aunt had booked for us. Signed us up to play, and people were super into it, and that's what kind of gave us the confidence to try to start booking some more shows. The next one, it was at a bar called Chelsea's Pub, which I don't even know if it exists anymore. It was a very random venue, but at that show we ended up playing with a band called Wendigo, who became our best friends, and we scrounged up our first couple shows. People took a chance on us and let us perform, and it went over pretty well, even though I think in the early days we were a pretty terrible band. It took a long time, I think, to get any amount of fans that were not people from our immediate circle. And I remember the first time somebody came up to me that I had never met before and said, like, told me that they loved our music. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what do you mean? I think there's always a level of imposter syndrome in any art where we all want our music to be loved and for it to be great, but to actually try to understand that it can impact somebody is a really difficult thing to come to terms with. So in my solo music, it's a lot more like folky, and there's a lot more of a country flair to it. But I have such a deep love for folk music and traditional music, and it's been so great taking all of the things that I learned in that band about songwriting. Like, I'm lucky in that band to play with some of the best songwriters and musicians that I've ever met and steal all their tricks. Sorry, guys. And be able to apply that to what I do now. And I feel like so much of that band influences my solo music too. A lot of the like psychedelic rock elements of it, kind of outer space vibes. The hardest thing about going from being in a band to just playing by myself is it gets real lonely on that stage. It's a lot scarier when it's just me and my guitar and the lyrics that are very vulnerable and emotional. Sharing that with the world is terrifying. And just taking on, as an independent musician, you are everything. You are the marketing team, you're your own booking agent, you're your own publicist, you're your own manager, you're your own accountant. That's the thing that's been the hardest for me, especially in shifting to trying to make a living off music and having to actually think about taxes and all the numbers side of things. It's not always quite so much as glamorous as getting on stage and singing songs for people. But you have to be prepared to basically do whatever it takes. All right, welcome to my home studio. I have always loved writing songs and recording songs, and I've worked with so many engineers that have made the music sound amazing, but it's never really quite captured the sound that I hear in my brain and that lines up with the influences that I have and really what I want to present to the world. And I figured out that the only way that I'm ever going to be able to do that is by doing it myself. Right now what we have loaded up here is the first EP that I'm working on as a solo artist. This is also the first like start to end fully produced project I've ever done. So all the songwriting, all the arrangements, all the mixing, I'm doing all myself for the first time, which is a really fun undertaking in my life. A lot of how I have learned how to produce music is by being the most annoying person in every music studio I've ever been in, where I've worked with engineers for the last 10 years or so recording music with bands, and every time I'm in the studio I'm asking 1,000 questions a minute like I'm a little 5-year-old kid, and I'm like, what is that microphone? What is this preamp? Why are you doing that? Why are you putting this here? Why are you putting that there? And so many engineers are so lovely and willing to share all the things that they've learned along the way that have made their lives easier. And I've been really fortunate to work with some amazing producers and engineers that have been more than happy to share their vast knowledge with me. Collection is this guy right here, which may just look like an ordinary saw, and it is. But when you take out a violin bow, I don't know who the first person to figure this out was, some brilliant hillbilly. Sounds like that. Lesson I've learned about making a career in music is that it's about the relationships and the community that you make along the way. No matter what you're doing, if you're a songwriter or a musician, a player, there's somebody that is way better than you. So the thing that you can do to set yourself apart is be the nicer person, because that's a whole lot easier than mastering your instrument. And it's also a lot more important too. If you're a capable player or songwriter that takes care of the folks around you, they're going to want to take care of you right back. Open up